This is the last video of Daze City versus Tanhai battle. After this, we'll start Eclipse Moon series. Chapter 579 to 580. Out in full force. Zhang Yi carefully checked their abilities. The leaders of the three major forces are all Delta-level aliens, and their abilities are also very abnormal. However, no matter how abnormal the ability is, it has its weaknesses. Even Zhang Yi, who has reached the peak of the Delta level according to the strength of his ability, still has the possibility of being attacked at close range. Therefore, Zhang Yi will always be cautious and never underestimate any enemy. Chen Liangyu, an orc-type ability user, ability code, Jaguar. Possessing a running speed close to the speed of sound and a fierce hunter's instinctive hunting ability, Zhang Yi calmly read the information of each alien of the three major forces and had a rough assessment of their strength in his heart. Not as good as the five major forces in Tanhai City during their heyday, but also very strong. As for weapons and equipment, there is nothing good to say, and it is far inferior to the Shishan base. It is presumed that they came to invade Tanhai City and could not carry a large number of hot weapons. In this case, we will weaken their strength by at least 20%. Zhang Yi carefully calculated in his mind, not missing any details. At this moment, a prompt came from his mailbox. Zhang Yi's eyes flashed with a sharp light, knowing that this was the response from Daze City. He reached out and clicked on the email to check. The content of the email was scanned in less than a minute. They still used that hypocritical rhetoric to express their tough attitude. Tanhai City is an important city on the southeast coast, and it must not be lost. This is not a problem for your forces, but a problem for the entire Jiangnan region, and even the entire China. Therefore, the joint defense of the three major forces in our Daze City is necessary. Please put the overall situation first. If you insist on resisting, we can only take tough measures. It will be bad if some friction or casualties occur at that time. Please think carefully. Finally, there is one more sentence. We are already on the way, and we will meet in Tanhai City soon. After reading the email, Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes slightly, with a playful smile on his lips. He sent that email for only one purpose: disguise. Let the people of Daze City despise their strength. If he surrendered directly, the people of Daze City would be suspicious. Zhang Yi sat down to drink tea and watch TV dramas without rushing, and after half an hour, he sent another email to the other party. It's not impossible for you to come to assist in defense. Our defense is indeed a little weak now. We can allocate a part of the area to you, but you can't move our current base. After the leaders of the three major forces in Daze City saw the email, they laughed secretly. Zhang Yi's actions have revealed that they are unable to compete with Daze City. He even agreed to cede territory, which shows his weakness and cowardice. Today, sea to city, tomorrow sea to land, and soon the three major forces will be able to completely swallow up Tanhai City. At that time, they will also swallow up Zhang Yi and the three base organizations. After all, what they have in their hands are the most core resources: supplies, weapons, and aliens. The leaders of the three forces gathered together again to discuss. Sun Jianming, he has softened his words. It seems that we can take Tanhai City without losing a single soldier. What do you say? Gu Hongdai, then what are we waiting for? Without further ado, we should lead our troops there and occupy several of their important resource areas first. Then we can slowly nibble away at them. Chen Liangyu said, "This is not good. They still have some troops in their hands. I think it is better to let them surrender and lay down their weapons so that we can be completely safe." Gu Hongdai smiled and said, "Chen Liangyu, are you too impatient? If we ask them to hand over their weapons and surrender, they may fight us to the death. Although we are not afraid of their small number of troops, it is not good to lose soldiers and generals in a fight." Sun Jianming also said, "Although there are not many aliens left, they are also elites. There is no need to force them into a desperate situation." Chen Liangyu frowned. "I just think that they will not give up their territory and resources so willingly. Only when they completely lose their resistance can I feel at ease." Sun Jianming said, "Of course they are unwilling. But the strength is here. They can't be unwilling." Gu Hongdai advised it's better to leave a way out. Tanhai City is so big, just divide a barren area for them and let them live. Sun Jiaming said, I think this is a good idea. Chun Liangyu said, okay, but we have to be careful of their counterattack. Gu Hongdai said with a smile, then bring enough of our elite. In the face of absolute strength, all conspiracies and tricks are just jokes. The three people discussed and decided to take the most elite aliens of the headquarters to Tanhai City. This matter cannot be delayed, lest the Jiangnan district finds out. There may be trouble. When they arrive in Tanhai City, they can naturally use powerful force to oppress Zhang Yi and others and make them hand over their territory and resources. The three families reached a consensus and immediately organized people to set off. Of course, they did not respond to Zhang Yi, lest Zhang Yi ambush them in advance. Although they believed that they were absolutely strong, there was no need to take risks. But there is one thing they could not have imagined, that all their conversations were clearly monitored by Yang Xinxin. So Zhang Yi knew their plan. Zhang Yi slowly stood up from the sofa and sent a message to the leaders of the three bases, with a cold look in his eyes. Prepare for action. In the snowy and cold west wind, the alien convoy from Daze City drove into the border of Tanhai City. Sun Jiaming and others made up their minds to kill directly to Xishan District, because that was Zhang Yi's base camp. Then they set up camp in Xishan District to intimidate Zhang Yi and force Zhang Yi to bow down to them. But they didn't know that all their movements were clearly seen by Zhang Yi. There is a landmark building in Xishan District, the Sanchi Tower. This used to be the Tanhai City radio station. The tower is 52 meters high and can be clearly seen from a long distance. Even if the end of the world comes, it still stands in the snow. On the way from Daze City to Xishan District, you will definitely pass by here because without satellite navigation, people are always most likely to choose a conspicuous landmark as a reference. Daze City's convoy rumbled towards the direction of Urki Tower. A total of 50 chariots, 800 elite warriors, and 72 aliens from the three major forces. 80% of the combat power of the entire Daze City has been mobilized. Led by three powerful Delta-level alien leaders, this time they will fight to decide the outcome and take down Tanhai City, which is rich in supplies. They don't even have to worry about the loss of the rear, because after taking over Tanhai City, they can move their base camp here. Tanhai City is more vast and richer than Daze City. Chapter 581 to 582. Condensing the Void. The convoy from Daze City moved forward slowly. They did not have the navigation system of Tanhai City. Although the Jiangnan district had opened up some of the nebula's authority to the forces in each region, it was limited to their own region. After all, Zhuzheng did not want to see fighting between cities, which would be harmful to the entire region. So the driver leading the way was a veteran in the transportation industry and was very familiar with the environment of Tanhai City. He could judge the direction by the buildings. From Daze City to Xishan District, you must pass by the Sanchi Tower. In a chariot painted white in the middle of the convoy, Sun Jiaming, Chen Liangyu, and Gu Hongdai looked at a map and began to discuss which barren area to drive Zhang Yi and other local forces to after taking over Tanhai City, and how to divide the important resource points in Tanhai City. Sun Jiaming pointed his hand directly at the Chaoyu base. The Chaoyu port is mine. Our fleet can use it. Gu Hongdai pointed at the Yangqing base slowly. I want the oil refinery at the Yangqing base. Chun Liangyu crossed his arms, looking indifferent, and pointed at the steel plant at the Qingpa base. A look of curiosity suddenly flashed in Sun Jiaming's eyes. Speaking of which, where is the territory of that guy named Zhang Yi? Chun Liangyu and Gu Hongdai also had a gleam in their eyes. They were also very curious. Although no one said it, everyone knew that Zhang Yi was the leader of the most powerful force in Tanhai City, and the area he occupied should be the best. But after the end of the world, the intelligence between the regions was cut off. They were busy fighting for territory in their own cities before, so how could they care about other cities? Sun Jiaming suddenly grinned and said, "Why don't we call Zhang over and take us to see it? Anyway, he will have to give up that place by then." That's true. Gu Hongdai and Chen Liangyu both nodded. With a smile on their faces, they had long regarded everything from the major forces in Tanhai City as theirs. At this moment, Gu Hongdai caught a glimpse of a tall light and shadow outside the window. She turned her head and saw a white tower standing a few hundred meters away from them. The tower was covered with white snow, which looked quiet and mysterious. Sanchi Tower, Gu Hongdai murmured. Then she turned around and continued to discuss the subsequent division plan with Sun Jiaming and Shen Liangyu. The night was deep. If it was bright in the daytime, perhaps she could see the extremely dark light and shadow on the top of the tower. When the convoy passed near the Sanchi Tower, Zhang Yi was on the top of the tower, looking down at everything below with indifference. In his heart, he silently calculated the distance between himself and the convoy. When the convoy was only 500 meters away from the Sanchi Tower, Zhang Yi could clearly see them in the tactical eyepiece. He slowly opened his right hand, and a very dark spark suddenly appeared in his palm, jumping like black lightning. Condensing the Void. The dark space power, as black as ink, expanded rapidly, jumping unsteadily like lightning, almost out of control. Zhang Yi shook his palm, and the dark void power extended and turned into a nearly 2-meter-long void sphere. After Zhang Yi absorbed the incomplete origin of Yuankenji, he awakened the strongest killing move, Condensing the Void, the Spear of Destruction. This was the first time he used it against the enemy. Zhang Yi looked at the passing convoy with cold eyes, and the ability of precision shooting locked the area in the center of the convoy. Then he raised the void spear high, aimed at that side, and threw it hard. Swish dash. Piercing through the void. In an instant, the black spear disappeared in front of Zhang Yi's eyes and shot towards the convoy in Daze City with the help of the endless night. The world was still silent, with snowflakes falling one after another. However, a second later, with the alien convoy in Daze City as the center, a huge dark sphere appeared on the ground. The dark sphere enveloped the space within a radius of 1 kilometer, silently, as if it had always existed in that direction. Most of the vehicles in the entire convoy were covered, with less than 10 vehicles outside the range. Even when the car behind that was not covered hit it, it disappeared silently. The huge black sphere that suddenly appeared swallowed up almost the entire convoy. The aliens in Daze City hurriedly contacted the aliens that were swallowed up. Unfortunately, they did not receive any response. The scene was in a panic. I don't know what I encountered, but soon, the black sphere disappeared. And everything that was swallowed up, nothing was left, only a huge, smooth, hemispherical pit was formed on the ground. The cars, people, not even a trace of dust remained. The horrific scene in front of them made the battle-hardened soldiers sweat profusely and pale. An alien fell to the ground in fear, screaming, as if he saw a devil, and then ran away like crazy. But at this time, aliens from Tanhai City appeared in all directions in the snowy field in the distance. The aliens from the 3 major bases and the people from Zhang Yi's team guarded one direction respectively. This time, no one will be left alive, because Zhang Yi does not allow anyone to spread his strength. Xiao Honglian, Xing Tian, Chen Jingguan, and others did not know what Zhang Yi's plan was at first. They were still struggling on how to defeat the aliens from Daze City, whose number was several times theirs. But when the huge black ball appeared, they suddenly understood one thing. It turned out that an insurmountable gap had long formed between them and Zhang Yi, and they were no longer in the same world. Kill, follow the leader's orders, kill them all, and leave no one alive. Chen Jingguan pulled out the pistol on his waist and rushed towards the aliens from Daze City who were fleeing in his direction. At this time, Zhang Yi's face was a little pale. The dimension spear was also extremely consuming for him. He had to swallow a lot of supernatural food immediately to replenish his supernatural energy. Then he took a step forward, traveled through space through the 2-dimensional gates, and came to the place swallowed by the void. Almost everything was swallowed up, and in the depths of the spherical depression, there was a horrible body lying there. At this time, he could no longer see his appearance clearly because he was covered in blood and his skin was gone. But he was able to survive Zhang Yi's killing move, so he was obviously a very powerful reinforcement player. Sun Jiaming, one of the leaders of the three major forces in Daze City, is a Delta-level reinforcement player. Zhang Yi walked slowly towards him and took out the adamantium-made horizontal sword of the Holy Judgment with his right hand. Don't play dead, can you fool me? Chapter 583 to 584, Lion vs. Rabbit. Void Sphere is a new skill that Zhang Yi acquired after swallowing Yuan Kongye's incomplete essence. Compared with Shunwei, its release skill is farther and covers a larger range, which makes up for Zhang Yi's insufficient AoE attack ability and insufficient long-range attack strength. However, if he encounters a powerful reinforcement or orc alien, he may not be able to kill him in one blow. For example, an elite Delta-level alien, like Sun Jiaming. Zhang Yi held the Holy Judgment in his hand and the dimensional shield in his left hand defended in front of him, and walked towards Sun Jiaming step by step. Cut the grass and root it out. Zhang Yi has always adhered to the principle of not offending others if they don't offend me, and if they offend me, cut the grass and root it out. Today, he will not leave any alien in Daze City alive. Sun Jiaming's bloody body twitched on the ground. Zhang Yi's cautious appearance was actually a bit redundant for him, because just now, he instinctively burst out all his strength, so he was not completely crushed by the power of the void like others. But his bones were almost all broken, and his internal organs were severely damaged, so he couldn't even get up. Jiaming was extremely frightened and confused at the same time. When he was on the verge of life and death, all these emotions turned into anger. That's right, it was anger. Why are you so strong, but you still pretend to be weak? If you had told us earlier, how dare we come to trouble you? Sun Jiaming raised his neck with difficulty and stared at Zhang Yi viciously. At the last moment of his life, he roared from his throat. Why? Zhang Yi stopped 100 meters away from him. Then he opened the dimensional door casually, raised the Holy Judge in his right hand, and seemed to adjust the direction of the knife. Why are there so many whys? Zhang Yi said calmly, and a knife passed through the dimensional door and pierced through Sun Jiaming's head. It's just that you are too weak. So far, the alien team from Daze City that invaded Tanhai City had killed 80% of the aliens in the middle of the journey, including 2 Delta-level alien leaders. Zhang Yi had no expression on his face, and everything went as he thought. The difference in strength between high-level aliens and lower-level aliens is completely overwhelming. He felt like Bian Junwu when he first arrived in Tianhai City. Even if they were at the same Delta level, he was overwhelming others. In another direction, a figure ran desperately on the snow, setting off a series of huge snow waves. That was Chun Liangyu, one of the leaders of the 3 major forces in Daze City. As an orc-type alien, his transformation was Jaguar. Out of the orc hunter instinct, he had already sensed the crisis of death the moment Zhang Yi condensed the void. In just a second, he had escaped from the coverage of the Spear of the Void. Looking back at the huge dark space, Chun Liangyu's heart was horrified. Is this still a Delta-level alien? I'm afraid the captain of the investigation team in Blizzard City is no more than this. What kind of monster have we provoked? Escape. We must escape immediately. Otherwise we will die. Chun Liangyu didn't care about anything. In the face of life and death crisis, everything can be abandoned. However, just as he was on his way, a huge wall of fire suddenly blocked his way. The sky was covered with flames, and the air was filled with the strong smell of alcohol. What is this? Chun Liangyu was forced to stop by the flames. He looked up and saw 2 strange people standing in front of him. A woman with magma runes flowing all over her body, but her eyes were as cold as a knife, holding a huge wine gourd and looking at him. Behind her, there was a man with a feminine face, squinting his eyes and smiling. Xiao Honglian, the head of Yangxing Base, and his deputy Zhuge Qingting have been waiting here for a long time. Zhang Yi did not chase the others, because the remaining fry had been scared out of their wits and did not need him to work hard. He absorbed Sun Jiaming's essence, then returned to the Sanchi Tower, took out a chair and sat down, resting while waiting for news from others. Half an hour later, People came here one after another, each holding a different number of heads in their hands. Red ice and snow formed on their bodies, which was formed after the blood froze. But everyone's face was filled with smiles. Because this time, Daze City sent elite troops, many of whom were aliens. After killing them, with Zhang Yi's tacit consent, the aliens in Tanhai City devoured their essence. In this wave, except for some aliens who were wiped out by Zhang Yi without leaving even ashes, the other aliens gave a great boost to the aliens in Tanhai City. Especially Hua and Liang Yu, who killed the most enemies in this battle and gained the most. Xiao Honglian walked up to Zhang Yi with his head held high and put Chen Liangyu's head at his feet. This is the leader of one of the three major forces in Daze City, Chen Liangyu. Xiao Honglian's face was full of pride. After all, killing the leader of a force is an extremely rare battle in the Jiangnan region. But in front of Zhang Yi, her attitude became more and more submissive, a kind of submission from the heart. Before, she might have been a little unwilling. However, after tonight, this emotion completely disappeared. Because everyone has seen Zhang Yi's strength. That is, an existence that they cannot reach. Everyone bowed their heads in front of Zhang Yi, a kind of respectful obedience from the heart. Zhang Yi turned his head to look at Liang Yu. Liang Yu wore gray deerskin gloves on both hands, holding a long knife, with a cold face. Count the number of people and see if it matches what Xinxin said. Liang Yu couldn't help but say, this may be a bit difficult, after all. Most of them were killed by you without leaving any residue. Zhang Yi laughed dumbly. That's true. Then his face became serious. But don't relax tonight. I said that no aliens from Daze City can be left alive. In addition, no one is allowed to reveal a word about what happened tonight to the outside world. Even if Blizzard City asks, let them come to me. Do you understand? His strength and ability may be exposed sooner or later. But the later that day comes, the better. Because one day later, he can get one more chance to kill his opponent through information gap. And exposing his strength too early will also cause him to be targeted by the Jiangnan district. Chen Jingguan was the first to stand up, straightened his back, and said, yes. Whatever the boss asks, we at Chaoyu Base will strictly abide by it and will never violate it. Xing Tian also hurriedly said, me too. Xiao Honglian saw that she was beaten to the punch and gritted her teeth in anger. Is there any need to say this? I am already the boss. If anyone dares not to listen to the boss, I, Xiao Honglian, will be the first to not let him go. As soon as these words came out, everyone at the scene looked at Xiao Honglian with strange eyes, and then their eyes moved back and forth between her and Zhang Yi. Xiao Honglian then realized that what she said in a hurry was a bit ambiguous, and Zhang Yi was also a little speechless. Ahem, what I mean is... Zhang Yi waved his hand. Okay, everyone understands what you mean. At this time, the more you explain, the more trouble you will have. Oh, finally we finished with the Daze City episode, and now we will start more awaited battle of Eclipse Moon. So please subscribe if not already. Thanks.